This is the Average Joe Strongman Show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Lee. This is
I'm
my
Mike.
brother from another mother, Mike. And this is the Average Joe Strongman Show. So we've got a really cool guest tonight. A good friend of Mike and I both, known him for a long time. I think I met George initially back at 2016 Nationals down in Louisville. George is a Masters Pro Strongman. He won the 50-plus USS Nationals last year, championship in the pros, and just recently competed at official Strongman Games in a hugely stacked Masters class. So yeah, we're excited to have him on. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. George Pearson. Sure.
Right. Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
Hey,
Good.
So first things first, congratulations on making the top 10 at OSG down in Daytona.
Yeah, thank you.
Which is super impressive when you consider just how ridiculously stacked that
holy
field
shit.
was.
Yes.
I mean, your podium is, Big Z, McClellan, and Pritchett. I mean, right there. But then also in the top 10, you got Mark Felix, you got Dimitar Sabatinov. I mean, dude, you had your work cut out for you, man. So
crap, I'm telling
you.
No, absolutely. It's funny when I saw the lineup, I was like, you know what? I think I really need to reconsider like what my goals are. So, yeah, I think my goal is now just I want to make it to the top 10. So yeah,
awesome. which is saying something because you're a beast. So that's I mean, that's good perspective. But I mean, give anybody watching, listening an idea just how tough was that 3 days for you? Because I mean, again, it's that 40+ Masters class was just incredible,
insane.
It was. I've been to other Strongman Games, Masters World Strongest Man competitions, and I'll be honest with you. I went in 2017, didn't make it to 2018 because I got injured 2 weeks before. And then 2019, I actually made the top 10, but I was injured on the last event on the second day. Then I just completed it anyway.
Yeah.
So this was actually the first time that I completed it.
Well, but you were healthy enough to get through. Good.
Yeah.
Again, another goal, right?
I just got injured, and 2017 was really bad because I injured my back and I slipped my disc.
Yeah.
And, Dr. Todd saw what I did and he was like, George, you need to come over here. And he popped it back in. And it was, that was extremely painful. So, but yeah, I mean, to, make it through all this, and here we are, 2021 and making top 10 with that lineup. It was so cool.
And I think it's some of the guys who didn't even make the top 10 who are also just beasts, right? I mean, Randy
absolute
Cole,
beasts, yeah.
Albie, yeah.
I mean, and there's a lot of new guys too. There were a lot of guys who were open and came over to Masters. And I know, as an example, like Washington Flores, at the after party we were talking. He's like, dude, he goes, I didn't realize like how serious this was with a Masters Strongest Man. I'm like, yeah, man, you're up against Big Z and Jerry, and I'm like, everyone treats it so seriously.
Yeah.
So he was like, he goes, this is the most brutal competition I ever did. And for me, this one was definitely the most brutal. I mean, I remember after day one, getting up that morning and I'm like taking, like 5-inch footsteps. And I'm like,
the lactic acid.
I was just like, this is day one. Like, But you get there, you loosen up, and you don't let that stuff get into your head, because as soon as you let all that get into your head, you're basically screwed.
Yeah.
So
it's always so much more mental.
Yeah, you get in there, you eat a good breakfast, and just take your time and warm up. Especially like next year, I'll be 50, and as an older athlete, you guys know it takes like a good at least a half an hour to warm up at a minimum. A lot of times it's even longer than that, and especially for this competition. I mean, I was warming up like an hour before.
That's what's scary to me too. I was talking to Vaughn actually earlier today, and he talked about you're turning 50, and then somebody else he said so like next year's 50+ class. I mean, Lee, you're wanting to get back there.
Yep.
I mean, if you're in the 50+ class next year, everybody who's watching,
it's going to be stacked again. Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely going to be stacked, and there are rumors that Mark Felix might be going to the 50+. So that and to me that would definitely legitimize the 50+. That would be super cool.
For sure.
Well, he's what, 52, 53? I mean, he can.
He's 55,
54. Is he really? Holy
wow.
So
and here he was thrown down with the big boys in the 40+. I mean, guys 10 years younger.
Yeah.
Or more. Crazy.
Yeah, and he came in 6th. I mean, he did so well with our car walk, which was absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
And for me, one of the things that I didn't understand, I'm still kind of trying to process this, was, I 900-pound yoke is 900-pound yoke, right? It's never like, oh, that's easy. But I didn't have problems with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it came time for the car walk, it was, I basically passed out, I think, 3
different
times.
Beast.
Wow. Yeah, it was a whole different beast. So
that's crazy.
Well, it's funny you say that 900 pounds, and I mean, for those of us, I mean, I've not actually ever had 900 pounds on my back. I've had 800 pounds on my back. But like when you say those numbers, people just like, right? They're just in awe of it, right? But you don't know until you know, like what that feels like and how your body's going to react to it.
Yeah, and then to top it off, they have a camera like in the car, so I can't imagine like what my face looks like.
Right. Worst, most excruciating poop faces ever.
That's right, for sure. So, rewinding a little bit, George. So, tell us a little bit about your background in organized sports before you got into strongman.
Yeah, say organized sports. High school, of course, I did the football thing. I wasn't a real big fan of football. I didn't care for it at all. It wasn't until I went into the Marine Corps. And
I didn't realize you were a vet.
Me, like going through boot camp was like turning on the on switch. I became who I was. And I remember I was out on the beach and I was reading this book called Marine Sniper. And it talked about basically the best sniper in the world at that time was Carlos Hathcock. And he had 93 confirmed kills in Vietnam. And he talked about how he was stationed at Cherry Point and went on, basically he was a coach and then made it to the Marine Corps shooting team, which is literally like the top 20 in the Marine Corps. That's snipers, everyone. I remember reading this book. I'm like, man, that is so cool. Like I want to do that. So I literally did exactly what he did in the book and ended up in the same place. So 1995, I was actually one of the top 5 marksmen in the Marine Corps.
Cool.
And here I was a air winger, worked on airplanes and beat all the snipers.
That's crazy.
Marine Corps. So so for me, when you excel in a sport like that and you get to a higher level, it can cross over into everything else in your life.
Sure,
absolutely.
So, including strongman, naturally.
That's crazy.
So how long have you been competing? Because I know we had Ken McClellan on here a few episodes back, and he talked about being at one of the nationals, and he goes, and just George Pearson came out of nowhere. Like what got you into strongman? How long have you been competing there?
So I always wanted to get into bodybuilding. From the time I was a kid, and I wasn't able to do it with like the Marine Corps. As soon as I'd work out, as soon as I start lifting weights, I was above my body weight. And then of course life, your job and your career kind of gets in the way a little bit. And then I got to a point where I'm like, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I need to do it now because I'm getting older. And I was about 38. and I started powerlifting. So I started powerlifting, I'd say around 2011, 2012, and only did that for about 3 years. I remember 2014 was my first strongman competition at it was New Jersey Strongest. It was
and then how did that happen? What got you interested in strongman from powerlifting? How did that transition happen?
You know, so I had this. Everyone kept telling me the way to get stronger is you just keep eating. Well, I remember
way to get better.
I went on the Wendy's diet, right?
Yeah.
And I got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, but in the wrong way. So I remember my last powerlifting meet, I did the deadlift. I remember saying to myself, I feel absolutely horrible. And I was like, I need to get in better shape. And I found somebody, I just happened to run into another gym owner in a restaurant. He was like, yeah, we have strongman. You should come over. And I did. I think it was like that next week. I went over, I tried it. I got my ass kicked. I mean, royally. And I was like, I love it. And that next month, that's when I did New Jersey's Strongest.
Yeah, I think that seems to be a common thing. It's almost like what separates the groupies from the rock stars. And I think we all had that same experience. When you first try strongman, it's like you get your ass kicked and then you're like, I absolutely love this. Right. Or it's you get your ass kicked and you go home.
I mean, let's face it, we're all kind of slightly demented, when you have
another common theme. None of us are right in the head. Yeah. Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah, I think that's why Marines and military tend to gravitate towards strongman. It's definitely it's definitely a different mentality.
I mean, how many normal people want to go put a car on their back and walk with it?
Yeah, exactly.
And most people want to do it until they do it, and then they don't want to do it anymore, right? So
yeah.
So George, go back to that first competition you were talking. Your first competition, how did that go?
I went masters, and there was one other person that I was competing with, and I naturally I beat them because I had that base strength from powerlifting.
Yeah, sure.
So and then from there I went to Vegas. I went to nationals.
Okay.
And and I got my ass kicked. I mean, it was pretty embarrassing, to be honest. I mean, I fell with the keg. Mark Bevins was actually beside me and we were racing, and I picked up the keg and I took off, and I was wearing the wrong kind of shoes and I slipped and the keg went bouncing in front of me, and it was really embarrassing. And then also too, the on the press, I couldn't even press the keg. And I remember there was a guy watching, right? He was behind me and he was like, as big as you are, you can't lift that.
Make me feel worse, you jerk.
Yeah. Shut up.
So I remembered that, and then I was like, you know what? Okay, I got my ass kicked, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna come back next year much stronger, much better, and of course, naturally, you just keep progressing every year.
Yeah. So, how long did you train for that first show, the New Jersey's Strongest?
1 month.
A month. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I trained for a year before my first. I was really paranoid and nervous and scared. And,
I was like 6 months before my first show, and I still didn't know what the hell I was doing.
And that's the thing. My attitude a lot of times is just jump in and do it. And that was the same thing with my powerlifting meet. I started powerlifting and I did my first meet in a month. So,
wow, good for you.
Yeah,
head first into the roar, into the fire,
into it.
So speaking of that, tell us about your training, George. I mean, do you follow a specific program, or you just kind of make up your own and go with that?
Well, I've done a lot of different programs over the years, and I've figured out what works for me. And I will say this, that I'm not the type to avoid working on weak areas. You're only as strong as your weakest link. So I make a point to do a lot of the things that really, really suck. So I've learned a lot. I've had a lot of help from different people. Like Guy Fulton, as an example, He's helped me with my pressing. So my pressing is actually my biggest weakness, but he's helped me quite a bit with that. But yeah, I mean, eventually, I think maybe this year I might get a coach, but I tend to because I am an older athlete. It's like, all right, a lot of these coaches are younger, and it's like, do they understand the older body?
And a lot of them don't.
Like, if my body doesn't feel right, if I go into the gym, and I'm, let's say I'm prescribing, one type of lift, at a certain weight, and if it's not happening, I just lower the weight. So I've learned that if I push myself to do it, I'll just get injured, and then I just go backwards.
We've talked with some other folks about that. I mean, Chad and Ken, and I mean, all of them pretty much encourage, guys like you in that mindset, like get a coach, right? But as far as the younger guys coaching older athletes, I think there's a lot of younger coaches out there who are good coaches, really good coaches, but they don't have the same mileage that we do. And therefore, anything they understand about being a 40 plus, 50 plus athlete is what they've read, or what they've seen. It's not what they've felt. So I think, I mean, just me personally, I would say get a coach, but get a coach who knows, right? There's guys out there, like Ken, like, Matt Mills. I mean, there's guys who have been doing it for a long time that, are good and do understand. So
I think this year I'm definitely going to take a look at that, and because I need to continue. I'm getting stronger. I'm still getting stronger. But I'd definitely like to move up the ladder, because I know next year, depending on how things go, I may continue to do the 40 plus, or I might do the 50. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that it's a balancing act of, and like Mike said, we talked with Chad Coy about this quite a bit. He's been a pro for, decades now, right? So it's like, what's the key, right? And it's that balance of, like you said, George, is how far do you push it, and then how far do you, resist, so you maintain, so you're avoiding injury. It isn't as much the pure focus on getting stronger. It's getting stronger, that's the key, but doing it without getting injured, right? And I've learned that the hard way for the past 18 months. It's like you push it and you're strong, and it's like you got to know when to tell the beast to stop before you push yourself past and you get injured. And I've been doing that for the past year. It's like you push, you re-injure yourself, and then you go back to square one. And it's like, these coaches,
I think having that external voice, right? Having that other, objective person, right? Kind of telling you what to do, so that you don't have to think about it, right? We've talked before, Lee, about I was training 5-6 days a week and into my early and mid 40s, until you and everybody else was like, what are you doing, jackass? Like, dial it back. And I dialed it back, and I started to get stronger because I was only training 3 or 4 days a week instead of 5 or 6. So stuff like that.
And that's that thing, right? It's that wasn't something I came up with. It was something that somebody told me. I mean, my coach told me that. Todd Seipel told me that years ago, right? He's like, I'm like, dude, I'm wore out. I feel like crap. He's like, well, what's your training look like? So I'm training 4 days a week. He says, and I take a day off, sometimes every 6th day, right? It's like, you're overtraining, so you got to back it off, right? And it's a hard pill to swallow, right? It's like, bullshit, I can do this shit, right? It's like, no, you got to back it off, or you're going to get yourself hurt. So,
Well, hey, let's take our intermission, a couple minutes, and we'll be back.
Okay, 2 minutes. We'll be right back. we're back.
Hey, George, do you train by yourself or do you have a training partner or partners?
Usually I'm by myself because I have literally 2 hours to squeeze everything in.
Okay.
There's very little talking. In the past, my training was longer and I tend to talk more.
Yeah.
And I found that I have to keep my even the heavy sets, the rest times around 3 minutes.
Okay.
So I try to jump back into it, and I found that actually helps me in the competitions. So I keep everything really tight and keep moving. I found out that most people don't like that.
Yeah.
That sounds strangely like rest pause, George.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Imagine that, Mike, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, part of the reason I ask is because back to the coaching conversation, right? Just having a training partner or partners training in a group still gives you another person or people to then give you feedback, whether it's technique, whether it's, whatever. So, I mean, by yourself, you're at somewhat of a disadvantage because you don't have that opportunity, right? For that feedback.
Yeah. So. I know for my deadlift, like it's still, I mean, as much as I've deadlifted, I still have issues with my form. So I do have people like, I'd be like, hey man, do you mind taking a look at my deadlift, as I'm deadlifting? And, when my form is in, I'm locked in and I can lift a lot. But if my form is not there, I'm like, I don't know, it feels heavy. And it's like, well, yeah, my form is off. So, yeah, you're exactly right. But yeah, every once in a while I'll train with like Vaughn, Sikorsky, and I'll go up there usually like once every 3 months or so, and we'll have fun. We'll train together, and it's pretty cool. I love doing that though. I love traveling and training with different people.
Yeah. So,
awesome.
Well, my innuendo a minute ago, George, is about, because Mike and I go back and forth on this all the time, and I've been telling him I've been doing the bulldozer workout for like 8 years now. I've varied off it a couple times, and I always go back to it, and it's 100% based on rest pause. So it's 30-second breaks between sets, right? You take 15 breaths and you go right back at it. So when you said that, I'm like, yes! I'm like, there it is, right?
Yeah,
well, it was created a bodybuilder who hates cardio, which is why
exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, especially as an older athlete, you have to utilize that time. For it's especially when you go into the accessory work and having that minute, you have to keep your heart rate up. And so you're utilizing that time while you're there. It's also cardio as well.
Sure,
so you're squeezing it all together.
And exactly to your point, I think it's got a great carryover to strongman. I think that that style of training really has a good carryover to strongman and competing. So stemming off of that, let's talk about warm-ups for a little bit. I mean, how long do you typically warm up before you train, and what do you do for your warm-up?
A half an hour. So I'll start with my upper body and my shoulders. I usually take a 5 or 10 pound weight, just kind of like moving my shoulders around, doing a lot of band work with my upper body as well. And then I like to do lat pull downs as well. So also warm up my biceps, because I had two different bicep tears. Both biceps.
Welcome to that club.
My left one is the one I tore in 2019, and it still kind of bothers me. So it feels usually pretty weak, like I'm going to tear it again, even if I'm doing like 100-pound sandbag. But if I warm it up properly, it's completely fine. So I'll do like 2 or 3 sets of 25 reps with 25 pounds for my biceps. And then I'll do the wall ball, just take the ball and, throw it and get down in a squat position and throw it back again. And so, I'll warm up that way. Well, and then
how many days a week are you training? 3, 4?
3.
3.
Yeah.
And then on those off days,
I used to train 4, and I felt like I wasn't recovered.
Yeah.
On that 4th day.
Well, especially doing max effort work, right? You need a couple days to recover.
No, definitely. So
on those off days, are you doing stretching and mobility and stuff on those days too?
No. I should be.
George.
But I still, it's kind of funny because, a lot of times I'll do like push-ups and stuff just to, kind of warm up my body in between.
Yeah.
But I remember the day when I would do push-ups to warm up. Now I have to do girly push-ups to, do the regular push-ups to warm up. So then I can do the other stuff. Yeah.
Do what you got to do, man.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do.
Sorry, George. I swore after I got out of the Army, I would never do another push-up again, ever. I did 6 lifetimes worth of freaking push-ups. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
While I was in. So,
well, the push-ups and also all the ab work.
Oh, yeah.
The leg lifts. I mean, I remember in the Marine Corps, like leg lifts, it was just ridiculous.
Leg lifts and butterfly kicks.
Yeah. And then a lot of running.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to run 6 miles a day and then 15 miles every Friday.
Just sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal.
It's kind of funny because I think even to this day, even though I had, obviously I don't run at all, really, but there was a lot of carryover. Even to this day, I feel as though my body tends to, work better in like the medleys. I tend to do better with that. So, and I think there's still to this day like a lot of carryover from the run days.
I agree.
Yeah,
100%. So let's talk about injuries. What was your most serious injury, either in training or competition?
I would say 2 slip discs.
The back. Yeah.
That hurts. Yeah.
So what have you done, or what are you doing differently now as far as training goes to, following that injury? So what changed in your routine based on that injury?
I don't go heavy as often. I focus on doing more rep work, which honestly, I think it's more muscle building. So more rep work, really kind of going slower on the negatives, working the muscles differently that way. So then when I do go up to do the heavier sets, the days I'm supposed to do that, I feel better. Like I feel like I can handle the weight better.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it's interesting.
I was kind of a, I would say more of a bulldog, in my earlier days. It's just like heavy.
Right.
Yeah. And my thinking has changed a lot. I've also added a lot of bodybuilding type of workouts with my workouts as well. So, I think with the combination of all that, it's really helped. And, knock on wood, I've been pretty injury free for a while.
Yeah.
That's
good
awesome.
for you.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting to hear you talk about, the focus on kind of the lowering or the negative, right? The eccentric portion of the movement.
Yes.
And not to get super technical, but there's 3 muscle actions: concentric, isometric, and eccentric. And what I think a lot of people don't know, bodybuilders know this, right? But working the negative, working that eccentric, actually, you're going to build more tissue. It breaks it down more during that lengthening phase. And again, as we get older, all the more important to make sure you're working all 3 muscle actions. So I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know as you get older, you have to start thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
And pulling in different things from other types of lifting or bodybuilding in this case, to get the result that you need. So yeah, and stop thinking. For me, I was thinking very one-dimensional, and I had to stop that and start.
And I think a lot of people do, right? Until they know better, right? And sometimes that's forced.
Yeah.
But
it's like what did Ken say? He's like, he started doing Pilates. He did it initially just
Pilates and yoga.
We wanted a girlfriend, right? And it turned out he's like, there's a huge benefit to this, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting.
Well, and when you think about that, I mean, that's there's the isometric, right? Because you're in that position, you're holding that position for 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, whatever, just dying.
Yep.
So I did Pilates.
It's funny. My fiance, she's did some Pilates, and she's like, "You need to do this." So she's been pushing. I'm like, not right now. After Master's World's Strongest Man, I'll take a look at it. So I'm open to doing all these new things.
It's rough, man. It's good. It's great for you, but it's rough.
Yeah,
I was sweating mess after Pilates.
Yeah, I mean, now like I was 315 and I got up to 347 for the competition.
Yep.
So 347 pounds doing Pilates is like, oh
yeah.
Was that the Wendy's diet again, or
That's right,
no?
yeah.
I'm kidding.
Well, the last 2 weeks, I said screw it, and that's usually what I do. It's the screw it mentality.
Sure.
I just eat everything, the whole works.
Well, so let me ask you this: so OSG, I mean, some of those events take hours, right?
Yeah.
What's your go-to food during a comp like that? Like, what do you chowing down on?
You'll
whatever's there.
I would say initially, like, I'll try to eat whatever, but depending on the event. So if it's let's say something heavy like a deadlift, okay, where you're just doing one movement.
Yeah.
I will tend to eat like beef, something with beef in it.
Yep.
Now the medley, I will eat baby food.
Okay.
Interesting.
So that
easy to digest.
That actually gives the nutrients to your body without that weight in your stomach.
Yeah.
So it keeps you light.
I've never heard anybody say. I like that though. I've never heard.
I do like that. That's actually awesome.
Yeah, so I'll get like baby food that comes in like the tubes.
So you
get like I get the one with like the yogurt, oats, blueberries, different fruits. So you get the sugars, you get the carbohydrates, and that's my go-to.
So Lee's 4 favorite words in the English language: all you can eat.
Yes.
Mine on game day are peanut butter and jelly. I mean, PB&J all day when I'm competing, but I like the baby food.
I do that as well. I'll get like the what are they called? That's the pre-made
Uncrustables.
The Crustables.
Yes. PB&J with the crust cut off. Yes.
Yeah.
So good.
But I do like the baby food for that. It's quick. It goes in your system right away. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't try that.
And it doesn't
like the goo. As well.
Oh, that runners. Yeah.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, George. So last question for me. So, and this seems to be a common theme we ask this of all our masters guys. So if you were going to tell a novice athlete just getting into the sport, what's the single most important thing for them to focus on in their training, as they're beginning their journey? And what would that one thing be?
It's probably something, I don't know if other people are saying it, but I train some people as well, and diet is huge. A lot of people are not getting enough nutrients. I'm not talking about the junk or just overall calories, but getting the right amount of protein, getting the right amount of good carbohydrates.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get that. And some of the people that I train, as soon as their diets improve, all of a sudden, guess what? They're getting stronger.
Yeah.
So, just like, I think who said this? Lou Ferrigno, that you can't out-train a bad diet. Yeah. So,
well, and when you think about, let's just take 2,000 calories as a general number, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is super easy to eat 2,000 calories of shit.
Yeah.
Burgers and pizza and like all the bad stuff, right?
Yeah.
It is really, really hard to eat 2,000 calories of quality nutrients. I mean, how much ground beef, ground chicken, turkey, salmon, whatever, and vegetables and all that, how much is that going to take to get you it's a lot.
It is
a lot. So it's hard, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So kids, eat better. That's what George says.
That's right. George says eat better for sure.
Yep.
No, it's great.
Eat better and you'll be a beast.
That's right.
Wait, thank you so much, man. What's that?
Eat a beast and you become a beast.
Yes.
There you go.
You are what you eat, right?
That's right.
Well, thank you very much for your time this evening. Great to see you. Great to talk to you as always.
Yeah, we could go on for hours, so that just means we got to bring you back. So, hit you with a whole new list of barraging questions. But man, we appreciate you being on here. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was definitely a pleasure.
Awesome.
We'll see you next time.
Take
care. All right, everybody. Till next time.
Yeah.